Today we're going to be making these fun pot holders with this nice fringe here. And for this project, we're going to be working with 3 strands of cotton yarn, and these can be any strands of cotton yarn that you have lying around, and they don't need to be the same size, weight, brand, or even type. I'm just working with the Lily Sugar and Cream, but you can use whatever you want. And you're also going to want to grab a size N or 15 or 10 millimeter crochet hook. And if you don't have a crochet hook of this exact size, that's fine. Just get as close as you can. And for this project, we will be working with these 3 strands of yarn simultaneously like they are one. So we're going to start by attaching the yarn to our crochet hook using a slip knot. And then we're going to chain 14. And you want to keep your chains relatively loose. And once you have your 14 chains in place, then you're going to skip your turning chain and diving into the back loop only of your second chain from your crochet hook, you're going to place a single crochet. Then you're just going to place 1 single crochet in the back loop only of the remaining stitches in your row. So you should have a total of 13 single crochets. And at the end of your row, you're going to turn your work toward your tail. So this is a little bit different than what you're probably used to, but this way we can start working in the front loops only from our chain row. And all we're going to do is place 1 single crochet in the front loop only of each stitch going back down our row. And this will create an oval pattern. So at the end of your row, you should have a total of 26 single crochets in the round and 13 single crochets on each side. And at the end of your row, your pattern should look something like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to start a continuous loop pattern, which means we won't be starting and stopping our individual rows, but instead they're going to act like a spiral. And we're going to begin with our waistcoat stitch. So for your waistcoat stitch, all you're going to do is place a single crochet between these 2 sort of posts right here. So you have 2 sets of these posts, 1 on each side of your project. So it helps if you can look at this from the front and the back, and I kind of push my stitch forward a little bit so I can see my posts. And so the front posts are right here, so I can go ahead and split them. And then I usually look toward the back of my project for my second set of posts, which are right here. So now I'm going to push my crochet hook through both sets of the post in the back as well as in the front. And I'm going to place my single crochet there. And the first one's always the hardest, so don't get discouraged if that was a little bit painful. From here, we're just going to continue to place our waistcoat stitches. So we're going to split our posts in the front as well as in the back. And it is helpful if you sort of look behind you so you can see where your posts are and make sure you're inserting your crochet hook in the right spot. And it's definitely helpful to keep this stitch loose. So go ahead and place a waistcoat stitch in each stitch in the row, and you should have a total of 26 waistcoat stitches when you're done. And when you make it all the way around your row, your pattern should look like this. So from here, we're just going to continue to place our waistcoat stitches inside of our previous row's waistcoat stitches. So we're just going to split the posts the exact same way, and you will find that this row works a lot easier than the last row. And we're just diving right into our first stitch. And so all we're going to do is add 14 rows of our waistcoat stitch, and then I'll show you how to finish up your pot holder. And I crocheted my 15 rows of the waistcoat stitch. So to finish this off, all you're going to want to do is make sure that you've ended on one of your folds here on either side. And then we're simply just going to slip stitch these corresponding stitches together, working in the very top. So we're going to insert our crochet hook up underneath our next stitch and then our previous stitch right here. We're going to slip stitch those together. And then we're just simply going to move down our row, slip stitching the top edge together. And at the end of your row, you're just going to cut and tie off your yarn, and then you're going to tuck your tails inside in between your two layers for your pot holder. And to make your fringe, I found that an empty toilet paper roll is a perfect size. We're going to grab our ends of our 3 strands and try to sort of line them up with the middle of that toilet paper roll. And then we're just going to loop it around twice. We're going to bring our second loop back around and we're just going to cut these strands in the center. So now you should have 6 strands of yarn, and we're going to go ahead and divide them. And we're going to take 3 of our strands and we're just going to cut them in half. So now you should have 6 strands. So we're going to begin on the side where we sealed up our pot holder, so right here. And so this is going to be the front of our project, and where we want to be working is right here in these loops. So that's where we want to place our fringe, right here. So now we're going to turn it over and we're going to locate that first loop, which is right here. And you always want to work this from the back. So now we want to insert our crochet hook in that loop there. And then you're just going to pull your 6 strands through, and you want to create a loop while you do this. So something like that. And you can use your crochet hook for this part, but I find that my fingers work a little bit better. So all you're going to do is insert your fingers in your little loop, and then you're going to draw all those little ends through your loop. And I usually pull on the smaller little ends here first to sort of draw them up, and then you can pull them all nice and tight. So from the front, your fringe should look like this, and from the back, it should look something like this. So now all we're going to do is just repeat that process going down that side of our pot holder. And on the other side, you're going to want to attach your fringe to these horizontal loops like this. And if you need to add a little body, you can always attach it to just sort of a random loop on the sides here. And again, you just want to work these from the back. And after attaching your fringe to both sides, your pot holder should look something like this. Thank you so much for working with me, and I hope you have a wonderful, awesome day.